All right, time for our winners and losers of the week. Teddy, as always, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
I got to go with Dr. J. Did you see Dr. J's two teams? The his two best teams that he would put together. Team one, obviously Dr. J from the old school, bunch of old school players on there. Bill Russell, Elgin Baylor. It's a really good group. On the second team, Magic, Bird, Jordan, Karl Malone. It's a really good group. Not present on either the first or the second team is LeBron James. Now, I didn't necessarily put him on there because he didn't pick LeBron. I just you've essentially pissed off the two best players maybe in the history of the game. And I don't know who's more upset. Who do you think is angrier? LeBron that he's not on the first or second team, or Jordan because he's on team two?
Jordan. Like, I mean, after we all watched The Last Dance, we know that like anything that man can hold on to and use as motivation, he's going to use it and almost be psychotic about it. Now, I guess he's not still playing, but I feel like,
well, what are the chances he signs himself to a quick little contract here to finish the rest of the season there with Charlotte? Oh, really? Second team, huh? Let me show you something real quick. I don't think it's past Jordan to try and come back, prove that he's still got something.
What do you think? And I know Jerry West is a hell of a player, right? Like, he's the logo we all like, and he's even probably more respected as an executive, maybe even as a player. But what do you think Jerry West's reaction was when he saw that and he was like, "Oh no, he put me on instead of Jordan? Oh, you got to be shitting me, Dr. J. What have you done?"
Right. Don't come on. Now, Jordan, because of Dr. J, is going to be pissed at Jerry West. That's just how it goes, right? That he made the list.
I
I love it. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. As soon as I saw that, I mean, it's hard to argue with the list. I mean, I think the list is fine, but I just knew that the LeBron fans and LeBron ego is going to be pissed because everyone loves Dr. J, and same thing with Jordan and Jordan fans and himself.
I did think, I don't know if you saw this, but one of the interesting results of this list was that Karl Malone was trending on Twitter. And for those of you that don't know, a lot of people are not big fans of Karl Malone because I guess at some point he got like a 13-year-old pregnant. So that obviously bothers a lot of people, myself included.
So Karl Malone's pissed at Dr. J too, huh?
So I don't know. Karl Malone's a different dude. If you've ever heard him talk about anything, he's kind of a different guy. But yeah, so I was like, why is Karl Malone trending? And I saw the Dr. J list. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Him, Bird. And I kept scrolling. I was like, oh my God, what?
Wow.
Yeah,
No,
it was a lot.
I did not know that. So everyone's pissed at Dr. J. That's why I've got him as the winner.
I can, yeah. So right now in the Twitter search bar, if you type in Karl Malone, the only two things that show up for me are Karl Malone and child.
Wow.
I was like, oh,
Yeah, some of that old stuff, pre-social media days that was just rumor and some people knew about and others didn't know about. Yeah, those days are dead. You know, that that not anymore. Is that stuff just kind of float around out there? It's out there in the open.
and
Wow.
allegedly never paid child support either for that whole situation. I was like,
No, hang on a second. Here's one of those things where I'm like,
Dude, all I know is what I read, man. That's all I know.
If you pay the child support, aren't you incriminating yourself?
I think we should move on. I think this is one of those things where it's like, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Like if you
And I think the answer would be yes.
Right.
If you're like, yes, I'm the dad, and they're like, wait,
oh,
she's, and
thanks
you're
for
like,
your payment, Mr. Malone. We'll be escorting you to prison.
That's a good point. A good point I had not thought about.
I don't know.
That's once again, we need like a show lawyer. we need a podcast lawyer. Now we've got several.
I have a feeling that our podcast lawyer would typically respond with, "It's probably best just to move on."
Yes, it's probably best we move on. Okay, who do you have as your loser of the week?
Ooh, you may fall into this category. If I remember correctly, the people that love the 4-team playoff. It comes out that they were talking about a 12-team playoff, Gabe. Ooh.
12 teams.
That's going to be painful for some of those. It's going to ruin the regular season, folks.
Okay. So I was thinking about it. And if they expand, because I believe it's Andy Staples and Stuart Mandel there at The Athletic put an article, said that momentum was building from the power brokers for a 12-team playoff.
Which I was shocked by whenever I heard that.
Right. And it was because I think we all kind of were like, okay, yeah, it's going to be 8. And we'll go with it. But I kind of like 12, right? And like, if we're not getting 8, I think 16 is too many. I think 12, where you've got 4 play-in games to play the top 4 seeds, right? So you have the 8 teams in those 4 first-round games. So that's 8. And then you have the 4 teams waiting on them. So that's total of 12, right? Look at the math we're doing.
Nice.
That'd be kind of sweet. I mean, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
But you'd probably reseed it after the first round, I would assume, so that the 1 seed plays the lowest seed, I would think is how they would do it. Listen, I'm all for more football. I am. I'm all for getting more quality games. And I bet you those first round games would be awesome.
No, I think so too. I think and we've talked about this before, but I think the more important games that you can have, the less guys are going to opt out and not play in those games. And the less stars that opt out, the more sponsors are going to want to be a part of it. So I think it helps everyone involved. And all the teams that are in, year out, I mean, and it's not like college football's ever been fair. We know that college football's never been fair. There's a group of blue bloods, whatever you want to call them, that are always resources, recruiting, whatever it is, are way ahead of the rest of the pack. But the playoff has made that even worse. So I do think that if you give more teams an opportunity, I think ultimately it's better for the entirety of the sport. Some fans don't care. It's like, I want my team in the playoff, the 4-team playoff every year. I don't care what happens to the rest of college football. The rest of college football can shove off for all I care. You're going to have those fans. But I personally, I like it if there's more teams involved and more opportunity for teams and players and coaches to put themselves out there.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And I was thinking about it because the goal is to keep more fans more engaged, right? And to continue to bring new fans to the sport and grow the game of college football, right? And I don't think it's any secret that people are a little tired of the 4 and people check out earlier in the year. But if you do the 12, right, which it sounds like it's kind of headed that way. Now, maybe they end up deciding, hey, eight's enough. But even with 8, but I think that makes the entire season more intriguing, not just the postseason, right? Because you talked about it last episode, Ted. That would probably encourage more teams to play better non-conference games because they won't be scared to play good teams, because if you win your conference, you'll be in some form or fashion in that system. So we'll get better games at the start of the year. Then we'll get the conference slate that feels like it has more meaning because the conference race in the conference championship game is tied to the playoff for everyone. And then we'll get the awesome playoff. So all of a sudden, the fear is that the regular season will feel like it doesn't matter as much, but it could actually just build the suspense even more leading up to the expanded playoff. I was thinking about it. I was like, this could be awesome.
I'm with you. I will never understand the argument that the regular season means less if you expand the playoff. How is that the case? There's 130 Division I football teams, and 4 make it. 4. We're not talking about 60 teams make it like in NBA where more than half of the teams make the playoffs. We're not even talking about the NFL where it's nearly half with 14. We're talking about 8, 12. You're still there's a tiny percentage of teams that are going to make it. And the other thing about the regular season, don't talk to me about how important the regular season is whenever we play Tulane, Western Carolina, and Nebraska, who are god awful, all 3 of them, right? And I don't mean to just pick on Oklahoma. There's countless schools across the country that have horrendous check out Clemson's regular season schedule next year and talk to me about how important the regular season is. They don't play anyone. It's done.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
I was all about the 4. Now I'm all about the expansion, baby. I've changed quick. Absolutely. 12, sign me up. Give me all the football. So I thought about going with Conor McGregor because I saw that he sold a piece of his stake in proper number 12 Irish whiskey or whatever the hell it's called for like $600 million. And I was like, you know what? That's pretty good, but I'm not a McGregor guy, so I can't make him my winner. I also thought about going with Saquon Barkley. Sounds like he's going to be back for the start of the season off the ACL, according to Adam Schefter. I even thought about us talking a little Kentucky Derby, Teddy, because the run, what is it? The race for the roses, the run for the roses. I've been to the Kentucky Derby and I still don't remember the slogan, but there's a horse called Hot Rod Charlie that I think is going to win. And the only reason I think that is because 5 guys that played football at Brown together, they were like, hey, what's something that'll keep us close? So they bought a horse, and it turns out this horse is awesome. So they called the horse Chuck too, which is tremendous.
Love it.
So I thought about going with the horse, and then we get some Derby talk, but I was like, it's got to, the winner of the week's got to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Teddy, they were staring history in the face, and they said, no, sir. They said, absolutely not. We refuse to set the franchise record for consecutive losses. We draw the line at 14. Damn it. 14 is enough. We've had enough Boston Celtics. Now the Thunder turned the ball over way too much and made it entirely too interesting by turning it over late. I was like, wait, there's no way they can blow this game. But the losing streak ends at 14, Ted. Let's freaking go.
Are we happy about that? How do we feel? Are we okay with it? What's the feeling here?
I think 14 losses in a row is enough, right? I mean, if you could tell any Thunder fan, hey, they're going to lose 14 out of 15, you'd be like, damn, really? But okay. Like you would almost be like, no, they're not. That's
They're gonna
ridiculous.
luck into something. Something's gonna happen. No, that's amazing.
But
And Boston, I mean, you know,
they didn't have now the Celtics. Now the Thunder still don't have Shea, which I don't know. Should we actually start being worried about the
eh,
whole foot thing? I'm not terribly concerned. He
he
seems
looks
in a good
fine.
mood. Did you
Yeah,
see that cardigan? My God, looked great. Looks spry and active on the sideline in that cardigan. The foot looks okay to us, but hey, we'll take the medical professional's opinion on that whole thing. But the Celtics, they didn't have Jason Tatum. They didn't have Kimba. They didn't have Robert Williams, who has an incredible nickname. By the way, Teddy, his nickname is Time Lord. So if you ever hear that, you're like, who the hell are they talking about? It's Robert Williams for the Celtics, is Time Lord. Don't ask me why. I call him Time Lord like I know why. That's one of those things. And I will fully admit I do this. I will do something like that. I'll call someone by a nickname and not understand where that nickname comes from at all. I got no idea.
and if you play it off and you use it properly, you sell it like you do know, and it's just fine. But if you don't fully commit to it and you act, maybe there's a little bit of unsure, you're not decisive on it, then people can sniff you out. So I like your confidence in that. Time Lord. It's a
Okay.
lot though for a nickname.
So I do remember this, but it turns out that his nickname, Time Lord, was given to him by Celtics fans in part based upon his timekeeping faux pas upon signing with the team. So, all right, there we go.
Huh.
There's there's your answer. It's not
Nice.
very damn it. I wish I wouldn't have looked that up. That's not cool at all. I thought it was going to be a badass story. I regret that. But so the Celtics didn't have those guys and whatever. But if the Thunder are going to win games, I want it to be because the young guys that they're developing ball out. And that's what happened against Boston. Poku had some moments, probably most notably the one where he got kicked in the nuts, but still hit the shot there in the paint. That was funny. Baisley had 21 and 10. Lou Dort had 24 points, and his growth offensively continues to be. I think it's one of the best kept secrets in the NBA right now. I don't think people are talking nearly enough about the type of player that Dort has become on the offensive end of the floor. I mean, he's fantastic now. And I do also love the fact that I guess Dort found out the day of the game that they were in jeopardy of breaking the losing streak record. And he told Shea, he was like, no, we got to win this one, man. Absolutely not. And he went out and played that
Pre-game
way, dude.
speech. You think
I
he had a
love
big
him.
one? Yeah, I do too.
Big win. Absolutely huge, massive, massive win. Okay, my loser of the week. I thought about going with Floyd Mayweather because he's going to fight Logan Paul in June. And I don't know anything about the Paul brothers
Oh,
boxing abilities, but isn't Jake which one's more famous and better? I feel like
I think
Logan.
Logan. I think Logan Paul's the better one.
Oh, he is. Oh,
I
okay.
think so. Because I don't know why today I thought he was fighting Jake Paul, and I was just like, dang, he's gonna fight everyone he can right here in a row. Nice. I don't blame him. I think Logan Paul's better, but I'm
Okay.
not sure.
It still feels gross. Still feels gross. They're gonna make so much money though. Like they're gonna make a shit ton of
Here's the
money.
thing. This is incredibly interesting to me because I hate Floyd Mayweather. I would pay if you could guarantee me that someone was going to beat Floyd Mayweather, I would pay almost an endless amount of money to watch it. Okay. But I refuse. I will not give Floyd Mayweather money, especially if he's going to win the fight and he's going to win this fight. So I will just wait and catch the highlights, I guess. But it is incredibly interesting. And it's incredibly sad that boxing has been reduced to basically celebrity death match is really all that we are now in boxing.
God, what a reference. Celebrity Deathmatch was the best.
Isn't that what it is though? It's just, there's no new boxers. We've got 55-year-old guys out there fighting each other in like an exhibition. I feel bad for boxing fans. I really do.
Yeah. I'll probably watch that, but I'm not paying for it. You know what I'm saying? You
No,
know what I'm
I
saying?
hear you.
You can find it. I
There's no
also
one on this planet less deserving of their money than Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there is, but
There's probably some.
he's up there. He's up there.
So I also thought about going with NFL draft analysts, the ones that have to do the mock drafts. Like, there's a ton of pressure on those people. It's very stressful. And then Teddy Bridgewater gets traded from the Panthers to the Broncos.
Redo.
And I can just imagine some guy has burned through like 5 of the 7 rounds, and then the trade comes through in the middle of it. He's like, oh my God. And just has like a small panic attack. But my loser of the week is the NCAA Board of Governors, because they decided unanimously to extend Mark Emmert's contract. Just a reminder, Mark Emmert doesn't run the NCAA. He's the president, but the Board of Governors does. And those people are presidents of universities. They are very smart, intelligent people. Emmert is their fall guy, but he is also the face of the NCAA. Let's be real. So it is so on brand that they snuck this in that press release. And I believe the section said other news or something like that. And it was just so on brand for the NCAA and the leadership. It's almost like they hope no one would see it or even notice. But my favorite part of the entire press release was they've got this big section about adapting name, image, and likeness rules, modernizing that. But in the same release, they gave a contract extension to the guy that has completely mishandled the name, image, and likeness issue. I mean, you just look at it. He's mishandled it so badly that now there's all kinds of legislation in all kinds of states, right, at the local level. And now the federal government is involved, and Emmert's asking the federal government to save his ass on this whole thing. And that doesn't even factor in the blunder he just had at the women's basketball tournament in the bubble with the whole weight room thing, which was incredibly embarrassing for the NCAA. So I don't blame Mark Emmert. He's the fall guy. Now, I don't think he's very great at what he does, or at least people that are kind of dialed into those industries seem to really hate him. But the NCAA Board of Governors, Ted, they must not talk to their athletic directors or their conference commissioners, because those people, they are not Mark Emmert fans, but he gets a contract extension. So what do I know, man? I saw this and I was just like, really? Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
My favorite band, Tool, has a song on one of their albums called Useful Idiot. And that's kind of what Mark Emmert is, right? And it's the same thing in the NFL with Roger Goodell. Everyone hates Roger Goodell, feels like he totally mishandles almost everything, but the owners like it because he catches all the arrows. He's the guy that catches everyone's frustration and anger. That's really what Mark Emmert is. I call him Mark Blockbuster Emmert because with the name, image, and likeness thing, he's just sat back and watched everything unfold, thinking that no, everything is fine here. Nothing is screwed up. Where everything's just going to work itself out, and everything passes them by. And now people are talking about like seriously considering like Division I football just being like Power 5 football just being like, we could do this thing ourselves. Why don't we just do this thing ourselves and just pass the NCAA by? So I'm totally with you, but I think it's calculated in a sense that you said it. He's the fall guy.
Do these university presidents just not care about sports? Or it's just so confusing, man. But you were talking about everything changing around him and him being like, this is fine. I can just think of that, that meme with the dog in the house around it's on fire.
Right.
This
No,
is fine.
we don't need name, image, and likeness. Amateur athletics. That's what the NCAA is.
Yeah. Gosh, what a joke.
This Oklahoma breakdown, I know it's got you crying.